Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to episode 162 of DevChatter. We are quickly coming up on our 1-year anniversary, which I believe is just about 2 weeks away. Not exactly. Couple of extra days. It'll be in the beginning of February, so our channel is actually almost a year old now. So hence being at episode 162. So that, of course, is averaging more than 3 streams a week for a year. So quite crazy. I a year ago hadn't even thought about, like, oh yeah, episode 162. Of course we're gonna get there within the first year. So anyway, greetings, hello, welcome. If you're new here, my name's Brendan. This channel here is DevChatter. It's so named because it is all about us chatting about development topics. It's about discussion. So feel free to ask questions, get involved in conversations. There's a chat over there where you can talk with me as well as the other viewers here on the stream. That's why we like live streaming format. It works a little bit better for discussions as opposed to a video where mostly it's you kind of watch and then you maybe ask a question. There's like actual involvement, so quite fun. Welcome, we're glad you're here. And if you are watching a recording, well, sorry you're only watching the recording, but hello future person. I hope everything's nice there in the future. Couple of things. If you do want to chat with me or the other viewers of DevChatter outside of the stream, best way to do that is actually to join our Discord. There's usually a good number of people online at any given time, and a lot of smart people with ideas about, you know, programming development. So if you just want to chat about what cool new things you've seen recently, that's a good place to do it. Also, all the code that we do here on the stream is open source. We put it all out on the internet on GitHub, and you can find a link to that over in the chat as well as down below the stream. It's at github.com/devchatter, so feel free to take a look at that there. If you want to find videos of anything that we've done in the past, so if you want to see how we got to the point that we are in this code, there's actually videos of all of this. You can find most of them on Twitch. And if you check out our YouTube channel, that actually has the full archives of all of our videos, including playlists to help you find the content that you want to see. So links over there in the chat and down below as well. Okay, so let me give a brief intro to the project that we're doing, as I know probably I've given enough time for people to start showing up. So here is the deal. We are working on a web application using Pimplek. Hey, welcome. Long time no see. So the application that we're building is a community web application. There's a lot of stuff that we want to build into it in the long run, but the starting point is that we want to have a site for the developer streaming community. So that we wanted to provide a lot of stuff. The starting point, so the initial like selling point of the site and why you would want to use it, why I want to use it, is that we're going to build a schedule into it. A filterable schedule is kind of the idea. We want to be able to have recurring streaming events. So if you watch DevChatter on a regular basis, you can find this down below, but you can also ask our bot. Say that you live in England, and that would mean that you are in GMT time right now. My streams are usually at 7 p.m. On Mondays and Tuesdays, 5 p.m. on Thursdays, and 6 p.m. on Saturdays. And that's pretty, like, that's our normal schedule here on the channel. And someone might want to know, hey, you know, I'm gonna be watching some streams in the evening. Who's live? You know, maybe you've got time on Tuesdays and you want to be able to find my stream exists. Well, that's what this site's for. So if you as a viewer want to be able to find that, this is how you do it. Hey Rubix, and I saw SNB a while ago. Welcome, SNB. And anyone else that's in chat and hasn't spoken up, welcome as well. You never have to talk if you don't want to. Okay. So that's the basic idea, is that we want to be able to have the schedule. Now, in the summer, obviously, I still stream at what is 2 p.m. my time on Mondays and Tuesdays, for example. But when daylight savings time shifts happen and other things like that, I want this schedule to still be accurate for that, because obviously I'm going to stream at 2 p.m. my time regardless of you know, what happens with DST and that sort of thing. Not all countries change at the same time. We don't all observe the same rules, so we want to make sure that all those events translate to the correct time for anyone looking for that. This also can help as a streamer who wants to be sure that you're not overlapping with other streamers. So there are a handful of streamers that I try my best to avoid overlapping with because I know that, you know, we cover similar topics. It's going to be the other people that do C# and .NET stuff. So I try not to overlap with them, both so that, you know, we don't compete for the same audience is the idea. Now, obviously some of that overlap happens. I remember when Mark started up his channel, I talked with him about that. I was like, Mike, hey, your Thursday time slot's the same as mine. And he's like, yeah, I can't get it. I can't avoid that one. I was like, okay, cool. So I guess we'll just compete on Thursdays. So it happens. But obviously with information, we can try to plan better. And so that's the idea, is as streamers schedule things, maybe I want to do a special event and I want to make sure no one else is doing a special event that same day. This can help. So obviously if two of us do like big workshop-y events, you know, on the same day, this is not going to go so well. So, yep, that's the plan. Rubik's shifts probably won't happen anymore in Europe. How are you going to deal with that? Rubik's, we are actually using Notatime to handle all of our date time stuff. Yeah, as SMB mentions. So whenever countries change those things, we just need to update our new time zone database and recalculate essentially the times for everything. So that is the idea. We are leveraging the efforts of other developers out in the world. So that's actually how pretty much everything works. Someone builds a cool thing that helps someone else. And I'm hoping that the stuff we build like this helps, you know, the community as well. So we all benefit as we build cool stuff for each other. So that's the goal. Okay, so obviously if you're going to try and find content to view, you're going to want to restrict based on a couple of things. So let's start up our application. We'll take a look at it, and we'll see what the current state of it is. So let me go ahead and start up the project. So I'm just going to do a .NET run watch, and I'm telling it which project's my web project, because I'm up at the solution level, so I need to tell it which one's the web project so that .NET knows which one to start up. And that'll start up our web project right here, and we can go ahead and run it. So if I do this, let me go ahead and bring a web browser onto the screen for all of you to see. Let's do localhost 5000. It shifted me over to the HTTPS one, and that's fine. Okay, so we are here on this website. Yes, it's just a generic, you know, and sorry about all that white. If I just blinded everyone, I apologize about that. I'll try to shrink this down a little bit so it's not quite so aggressively white there. Okay, so here's the idea. I'm editing the channels that I run, that I manage here on the site. This is content that I support, so I would want to let people know which tags are associated with my content. So obviously on DevChatter, there's a couple of tags that are important, one of them being that I do JavaScript code, another one being that we do C# code here on the stream, the next one being that I speak in English for the stream, and I don't remember if we have any other relevant tags that I need to put in here. But I'm going to go ahead and save that, and now those tags should be saved. So that's the feature we added 2 days ago on Thursday when we had David here pairing with us. We added this little tag screen here that lets us add and remove tags reasonably nicely. We're using a little view multi-select tool, and we're binding to that with VueJS, and it works out pretty nicely. We did this for our edit page. So if we go back to the list and we take a look at the create new page, this one, we knew we were breaking it at the time. We said, hey, we're going to break this, that's fine, and we'll deal with that later. So hence why we're working in a branch. So we broke our create channel page. And that's fine. That's what we're going to fix today. We're going to fix that, make its tagging work again, and then we will have a full page here that can handle tags and you know, adding and create when we're adding new channels and editing existing ones. The last place we're going to need to adjust is this details page. We're going to need to list the tags. So that's the remaining features that we want to tackle and see if we can get in order. Because if we can get those, oh, and actually, now that I think about it, the delete page shows the details, so we're going to want to show the tags there as well, I think, just because the page confirms which one you're getting rid of. Okay, so let's take a look at our create new page, and as we do that, I'll let all of you see the JavaScript and the C# code that is making all this work. So if you did miss Thursday's episode, that's how we'll catch you up, because we do need to look at the same code. Okay, so here's my plan. This site we set up using the default ASP.NET Core scaffolding templates. So essentially we told it, hey, we have a model object that is this channel, here's all the stuff that's on it, go ahead and make the create, edit, update, you know, all the various pages for it, do the CRUD operations, the create, read, update, and delete operations, and it makes pages for us. So if you take a look, it made create, delete, details, edit, and index pages for each one of these models, and it can just create these. They're super convenient if you just want to really quickly get a page going that can do your basic edits. So I highly recommend, if you're just starting out, just build one of those. It's really neat. You'll be amazed how quickly you get those pieces going. If you want to go beyond the basics of that, and you want to start doing some more advanced things, a lot of times you'll find that it's easier to just shift away and go with the MVC style approach as well. So we're using sort of a hybrid of using both the Razor pages for some of our content. So that's Razor pages being the new ASP.NET Core way of building pages for the web. And we're also using a little bit of the MVC approach. So that's sort of where we're sitting right now, is sort of in this hybrid. And I actually really like it because it lets some things that we can load in automatically, and then things that we need to load in dynamically, they come in through MVC controllers. And obviously when I say MVC controllers, I of course mean that it works like the Web API controllers that you're used to if you're not in ASP.NET Core. Okay, so I have the create.cshtml file open here. Let me go ahead and hide the terminal so we have more coding space here. And then the edit cshtml file is here. Now, I want to change things so that the edit page can do a creation. And by that I mean I don't want to have both pages. Having both pages is extra work. I'm going to have to always maintain and synchronize both. Whereas I feel like they are so similar that I can have one of them do both. You've been digging using page handlers for that stuff. What do you mean page handlers? Anarchist dog. I'm amazed that I actually figured out what that name was. It's all lowercase, so figuring out where the words are is actually kind of tough. I actually really do like the way that Razor pages work in general, and actually you can, instead of doing the MVC parts, you can actually put all those in the back end of the page. But for a number of those, if you feel like they might get called from elsewhere, you should probably put them in an MVC controller. So, for example, we have the timezones controller, which is a separate piece, so you can request time zone data anywhere in the application. Now, obviously, if we thought that the interface for selecting time zones is going to be the same everywhere, we can obviously package this up as a partial view that gets used all over the place. So that is also possible if you want to take that route instead. One of the nice things is that you are actually able to use a lot of different approaches to solving the same problem in ASP.NET Core. They didn't just give you, here's the new way you have to use it. They actually gave you like all the ways. So if there's a style you like, you have full access to that. With Blazor, those are awesome. Good, Genescu. You wanted to ask me exactly about it. Pimpblack, which thing did you want to ask me about? The MVC controllers? So, you can actually use MVC the same way that you would in an ASP.NET Full Framework MVC web application in ASP.NET Core. So you can do that. You can also use Razor pages. You can use them both in the same application. It's all up to you how you want to go about this. So pick one, go with it, mix and match. And if you wanna do things. So we actually inject in a little bit of VueJS, and it works reasonably well also. So that's actually what we're going to look at today. So the create page, I want to take a look at it. It does almost nothing. Basically all it does is it takes up the model object that we have bound right now, which is just a channel object, so not very advanced here. We just took the basic model and just shoved it onto the context. So this is essentially what we got when we scaffolded this. So ASP.NET Core gave us basically this whole section. Basically this whole section. The changes we made are that we gave, on get, we set up the country list. And that's about it. We essentially set it up and we said, hey, here's the countries you're going to work from. So when someone creates their channel, they actually tell us what country they're in, and they choose a time zone. I will show you what that looks like since we are here. So you pick your country out of the list, and maybe you live in Sweden, and then that would populate the time zone. Now, as I mentioned on Thursday, we broke this page. We just shredded it. We're like, we'll do edit, because edit is going to eventually encapsulate create. So that's the idea. We're going to have it do both. So let's take a look at our edit page. So right now, if we go to the edit page, let's see how we get here. When we go here, you'll see that we pass in, so we go to channels and edit. So this defines the page that we're going to. And then this is our ID that we pass in. What I want to do is I want to make it so when you go to edit, without passing in an ID, that it will load the page still. And in addition to loading the page, what it is actually going to do is I want it to set it up in create mode. So set it up to add a new one instead of editing existing one. Okay. Now, alternately, we could do some kind of magic where we make it so it's create is the URL. I'm not worried about that. If you go to edit and you don't have it, we'll make it create, and we might even change up the message so that the heading is right, so it doesn't say edit, it says create. But we're going to use the same page for that. This is the page for editing them, and editing is going to be both creating and updating them. And Cynical Marley, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. And if anyone else is in here and enjoying the stream at all, be sure to click that follow button. It is the best way to get notified when we go live. Okay, so when we come to the edit page, you'll notice that when I went here, it says page cannot be found. Now, the reason it did that is it came in here. It said, I don't have a value. Oh, whoops. It said, I don't have a value, so return not found. And this is where we know we're on the create path now. So what we want to do is change that up so that instead of being not found, it puts us in create mode. Thanks for that hype, Janiscu. Okay, so I'm just going to write the word create mode in there right now. So that's a reminder that we're switching modes. So in this case, we set channel ID equal to the value. So getting this object should only happen in this case. And we'll restructure this in a minute so that it'll be nicer than this. But I'm just figuring this out right now. So countries, this list gets populated no matter what. that populates our list of countries for selecting the time zones. Okay, then we return the page. So this just checks to see if it exists, and then we set just the ID. Okay, that actually works fine. Let's do that. So the only thing we need to do differently then is set the ID. Now, the reason I say, so you might be wondering now, why are we setting this ID? What does this have to do with anything? So we actually made it so this page runs really on the JavaScript side of things. Nice, S&B. Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. It's really cool. The live share is just fantastic in the things that it does. Okay, so we want to see, does this thing exist? And if you gave us a bad ID, we're going to say not found. If you didn't give us an ID at all, we're not going to say not found. We're now just going to work. So the edit page, if you didn't give us an ID, is just going to function. But obviously I can't call id.value because it doesn't have one. So we need to set this to something. So I could set it to -1. I could set it to 0. I could leave it unset. And that's what we want to figure out. So we'll choose one. Let's see. I'm going to go with Refka. Just a guess on that, but welcome. Thanks for following. Much appreciated. Always get a guess on those names. Hype, hype, hype. Okay, so I'm going to just put in -1 for now, and we'll see if the page works. Ooh, did it not reload? Hang on. It might not go in because it might not consider this optional enough. Hey, Coding Karma, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Let's make sure that page actually reloaded. It doesn't always. Even though we're doing a run watch, they don't always refresh. There it goes. Okay, so now it accepts it without an ID, and we don't get that problem. You'll notice no data loaded up, which is probably fine, except that I'm betting we've got errors. Yeah, so we have some errors here because we called out to our service to get the data for this channel, and it didn't work right. So we're gonna fix that. I know how that goes, Coding Karma, but we're glad you're back. Hopefully life being busy was good stuff, like, you know, getting to work on some interesting things. So essentially, here's what we did. Oops. So we called into this controller. We passed in -1, and right here it says ID less than 0, return null. So we did this right now. But I want to change this because I think what we want to do is return back an empty object. So let's do that. So we're supposed to return back a channel edit model. So let's do it. So we'll just return back an empty one of those. If you pass us a negative ID, we'll do that. This is going to need some documentation for the fact that that happens. Otherwise, that will confuse someone at some point. Even if it's just, you know, in the description of it, in a summary. Okay, let's try this again. So now we reload the page. No more errors this time, so see, all of those are gone. So that's good. That's a good sign. So let's do this. So our channel name is going to be DevChatter 2. Our URI will be that DevChatter 2. Our country we will be, I don't know, maybe we found someone that lives in, we'll make it Canada. We'll say that we convinced one of the Canadians to work with us and do a DevChatter too. And they live in Toronto. And they do TypeScript. And speak in English. So we'll create this. Now, when I click save, I don't expect this to work. And the reason I expect this not to work is that we're going to be passing this in with an ID of -1. And -1 is not the value that we want. Yeah, sorry, S&B. Clearly, I rigged this bot to make Janiscu win. So let's go ahead and save that. Okay, so here it is. There is our 500 error that we expected to get. We figured we're probably going to get some kind of error because we passed up an invalid ID. Let's go ahead and fix that by taking a look at the next part. So first off, let me hide that terminal so we can see a little bit more code here. If we zip down to the bottom, you'll notice that we also have a post. And yes, Janiscu, the DevStreams rigged it. In the post section, we send up this edit channel model object. So this is basically the model that we deal with on the page, on the edit page. So this is the model designed for editing. It means it's fairly denormalized. And if you don't know what denormalized, that means essentially the idea is if you think of an object having other objects and things like that and having a structure to it, when you denormalize it, you flatten it out. It's not totally flat, but we tend to flatten things out when we make view models and edit models and things like that because it's easier to get that data sent to us. So in a couple of cases, we'll denormalize a little bit. This one still has tag objects and things like that. So, yes, Janiscu, I would say if, but when we do eventually get Twitch partner on this stream, I do plan on getting some things like a DevChatter hype, in addition to the DevChatter hype emote, a DevChatter rigged emote. Okay, so model stays valid. That's not the one we got. I'm wondering where we failed. So, okay, here's where it is. We grabbed the first or default. Since it came back, we did first or default, it came back as a null. There wasn't one in the database. So, let's handle it here. I like the idea, model, of doing this as two separate things. So I want to say if the channel ID is less than or equal to 0. Hey, Coding Karma! Nice! Thanks for that Twitch Prime sub, much appreciated. Hype, hype, hype! Yeah, we need some hype in the chat there. As you are back, hype. You have one month of Twitch Prime, nice. Okay, so if the ID is less than that, then we want to do model equals new channel object. Else, we want to do fetch it from the database. Which, actually, now that I think about it, so I'm not terribly worried about the performance of this piece. This is when we post it up. I think I'm okay with doing a quick check and trying to grab this data. So let's start off the model object like this. No, we'll do it the way we had it. Do it this way. I'm just thinking of what the consequences of this will be. Okay, so channel object. If this was less than null, get a new one. Otherwise, do that. Alright, I kind of want to pull this out as a method if we can. So let's extract a method, and instead of new method being the name, let's give it a name like is new it's new channel. What? Why didn't that edit? There we go. So we've got if is new channel, then do that, otherwise do that. So I think that reads nicely. You can tell this is if it's new, this is if it's not new. Okay, so then we take the model object, we apply our changes to it, then we will try to save it. When I create this model, I have not actually applied it to anything. So I need to say _context, and then I want to say channels, add model. So essentially what I did here is I need to tell the database that this is a new object. So in this case, we pulled it from the context, so it knows it's a new object. Over here, I want to tell Entity Framework, hey, by the way, this is an object, you should care about it. Since I know it's new here, I can, do this add for it. So that's the idea. Then when we save changes, it's going to do either save or create, depending on which one we did. Okay. Oh, I forgot I did that. We're going to do that again. I made it a local function for our other little helper method. I'm going to do the same thing on that one. Okay, so channel exists and is new channel. Now in this one, notice we're taking in the whole model, and part of that is because right now we're basing that on the ID, but we could use some other kind of property. So maybe we'll adjust the model at some point so that this channel edit model will have a value like an is new or something like that. So instead of passing in that ID and figuring it out based on the integer, we could actually pass in a Boolean that gives us the real information. So that's the reason why, if you're wondering why I pass the whole object to this function instead of just passing the integer. So I just want to make that clear. Dark, hello, greetings, welcome. Coding Karma, you've been looking at frameworks like Angular, Vue, and React lately, not deciding which one I like better. Coding Karma, I have looked at them all as well. I like VueJS. It does a lot of interesting things. They're all great. There's no wrong answer. That's part of why you can look at them and not make a great, not like make an easy choice. But I do really like Vue, so that's hence why we're learning it here on the channel. I have used older versions of React. I've used a lot of different frameworks. We did a little bit of React. We've done some Angular, so other things like that. But Vue is the one that we've been using here. And one of the things we like it is that Vue is easy to pick up, and you can just kind of start using it. Exactly, yes. So people, much easier to learn and understand, and then FimFlack with Vue is simple, and that's part of the reason that we like it. It's nice to have some tools that are simple and can solve problems without a lot of complexity and without being overbearing. So that's why we chose Vue here. Your issue with all those frameworks is that the development, debugging, and deployment experiences and toolings always suck, even if the actual framework itself has no issues. You got it. So that's part of the problem that you run into with a lot of different things is you can have all those kinds of problems. Your framework is supposed to make your life easier. React doesn't do that. So you've got strong opinions on React. Yeah, so that's why I said there's no good answer. Some people love React, some people love Angular, some people love Vue. Try each one out, see which ones you like. There really aren't wrong answers out there. Lightman Den, welcome. greetings. Thanks for that follow. And if anyone else hasn't clicked the follow button and is enjoying the stream at all, be sure to. It really is the best way to get notified when we go live and to make sure you catch the streams, because it is quite fun. I think this is going to work. So let me go ahead and do that. Hang on a second. I have an email that came in from a client. I just want to make sure it's not like something crazy. Okay. Whoops. Oh, where did I do that? Line 88. New channel, but I can't use the name channel. I think I can get away with that. There we go. And let's run that again. Yes. We have .NET developers, C# developers, JavaScript developers, a lot of good stuff. Yeah, Coding Karma, definitely check out Vue. It is, like, just go try to use it, and you will figure out immediately that you can basically just wire it in and start going. That's one of the things that I really like about it, is that the initial ramp up on Vue is easy. Vue splits the difference. Glad to hear it, Anarchist Dog. I think that some frameworks require you to get a deep understanding of the programming model before it becomes simple for you. Exactly, S&B. Yes. I think the idea is once you really get the frameworks, they make sense. That actually reminds me of when I was learning Objective-C a long time ago. So I don't know if I've told you all the story of when I learned Objective-C. At first, when I saw Objective-C many years ago, I thought that is one of the ugliest languages I've ever seen. Who even made that? Why would you use it? And then I used it for a while. And it started to make sense, and I started to get it. And I was like, this actually is really nice. I like it a lot. So I actually like Objective-C. I don't program in it regularly, but as a language, I think it's got some really cool concepts. Now, the funny thing about that is that many people pointed out to me that it was just the Stockholm Syndrome, and that, which I thought was a hilarious suggestion of like, no, like, you're, maybe, but either way, I did start to like it after a while. I think it was that I started to understand it better. Only pure JS with SignalR. Now the funny thing is, Lightman Den, that's actually what we do in our chatbot project. That code is actually pure JavaScript calling SignalR. You don't need frameworks all the time, but VueJS is nice for bindings and things like that. So if you're doing edit screens and stuff, I would actually recommend you use some kind of a framework, because I think it will help. I forget if yes, I did start this, because it was not building before. Okay. I should be able to click this button again, because when it calls the controller, it should be there. Okay, cool. So DevChatter 2 exists. Check out the edit page. There it is. Can I modify this? So this one, it's supposed to be using TypeScript, right? But let's remove English. So we'll try removing one. The edit pages still work. Yep, looks like. So this one is going to use TypeScript, C#, and English. And hey, nice. Let's try creating another one just to see what happens. So we're going to create a new page, and we'll call it DevChatter 3. And we're going to fix this stuff. Whoops, I did not mean to go to create. I meant to go to edit. Nope. Hang on. Let me go put that URL in there again. So this is DevChatter 3. And DevChatter 3 is someone in, let's go across the pond. France. There we go. Definitely not English speaking for this channel. This is a French version. And we'll save that, and there we go. There's DevChatter 3 in Central European time. And looks like it works. So awesome. So that works. We just need to change it so we don't use the create page anymore. So that's the secret. Now we go to edit instead of create. Why don't you code? SharkDeed, you've been here plenty of times. I code in VS all the time. So the I actually do have VS running. It's right here. The project is loaded, so this is Visual Studio running the exact same project. I have it here in case I need to switch to it. I run both. So I like VS Code, I like Visual Studio. If I think I'm going to be doing more JavaScript than C#, I usually run in VS Code as it does a little bit better with that stuff. If I think I'm going to be doing more C# than JavaScript, I run in Visual Studio. So that's usually how I make the decision of which one I'm going to use as the primary, but I almost always have both running. So even when I'm running in Visual Studio, I usually have VS Code loaded and running the same project in the background in case I run into something where the other one is going to do it better. So that is the idea. So right now, turns out we're in a little bit more C# than we were JavaScript, but meh, it happens. Okay, so we set this up. The edit page now works as a create page. So I want to commit this change. So we're going to say allow channel creation on edit channel page. So we now made it so that you can actually do that, and that is a simple version, of course. We definitely want to make it a little bit nicer than that. But here's the next step. We now want to go and get rid of all references to the create page. So I'm actually going to get rid of this. I'm going to delete both of these pages. Goodbye. We have source control, so if I, screw up and I need to get them back, they're there. They're not really gone. Not permanently at least. So those are gone. Enough. And I can go in here and this ASP page create. That's not where I want to go. I want to go to ASP page edit. So this is an anchor. And these are tag helpers that we have here in ASP.NET Core. So if you haven't seen this ASP dash, anytime you see that, that is part of our Razor page, and that is telling Razor, when it builds this, go ahead and replace that. Go ahead and fill in the values so that this anchor tag is a link to the edit page. Okay? And that means there has to be an actual edit page. This is not a URL. This is an associated page. And it's going to check that at compile time to make sure that that's correct. Let's see. I don't think anything else on here references create. Okay. So that works. So that should adjust that. On the where else is any of these other pages going to link to the create page? Or am I done? So that goes to edit. I don't go to create from the details page ever. We don't ever go there from there. So that's the only link to it, I believe. Yeah, cool. Goliath, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get that committed then. Alright, so remove, what is this? It's obsolete. Create channel page. Alright, so that's gone. We don't need it anymore. So now I need to change a couple of things. We've got a little bit of cleanup. We're definitely not done. So first things first, let's fix the name of that file. So we have, this is called streams create, which is totally absurd. We need to fix that. That is not the name of that. That is not going to be the name of that JS file any longer. So first things first, let's go in here. This is edit channel.js is the new name of it. Which means on this page that needs to change. So that's now edit channel.js. It's used only on this page. It's not how we do that anymore. That actually should be enough. Let's go ahead and do this just to be sure. I'm going to go ahead and restart the application, and we're going to take a look and see how it does. So jumping over here, go to the root of the site, load this, we're going to refresh, we're going to go to the create page, refresh, looks like it is loading everything. So no errors or anything, and Vue is running. And if we go over here, we get all this, and it looks like that's working. So nice. Page needs a little bit of formatting work. It doesn't look nice, but it functions, and that's the important part. Okay. Great. Let's go ahead and commit that adjustment there. Fix name of edit channel JavaScript file. Okay, so that got fixed. A couple of other things. When we were on this page, the edit.cshtml, you will notice that we have this text here, this edit, that appears right here. We want to change that. This ViewData is what's going to do it. Actually, let's just put it on the object. ViewDataTitle must get used somewhere in this project. In the layout would be my guess. Let's take a look. So ViewDataTitle is used right there, which means this value needs to get set. Because it's getting used in the layout. So this has to always happen. But the value can come from wherever we want. So I can say model.title. And down here, I can say at model.title. And that can be my Razor page model title there. So in order to set that value, I need to come back here into the CSHTML, and I want to say edit, except it's not called model title here, it's called title. So essentially, we can get access to anything that is on our edit model object. This is called a page model in ASP.NET Core, hence why it's inheriting from PageModel. Epoch Varg, welcome. Thanks for following. Greatly appreciated. And welcome to DevChatter. Hopefully you are enjoying the stream. So we're going to go ahead and do a prop string, and this is going to be called title. So this value will get set to edit if we have a value, and create if we don't. So now, when this runs, it's going to set the value of the ViewDataTitle to the title from our page model, and it's going to display the H2 using that value as well. Let's check out the page. Just to be sure that it works, I'm going to go ahead and restart the site. I shouldn't have to, but I'm going to anyway, just to be sure. Refresh the page, and create new. So it says create here, it says create up in the title bar, definitely says create channel. And then if I go back to the list and I edit, it says edit channel, says edit, so boom. Nice quick fix there. And now that is fully a create page and an edit page. Certainly looks like it. The only thing that's wrong on the create is that we still have this edit URL here, but I'm not bothered enough by that to fix it. If you are bothered by that, you can fix it so that both of those URLs will go to that page, so that this could be create. But I'm not going to deal with that because I don't care. I am totally cool with creating new objects from an edit page. Maybe that's because I'm a developer. And since our audience, at least at the beginning, is developers, I'm less worried about it. Okay, display, correct, create / edit title. For channel. Edit page. Okay. Epoch Varg, we are building an ASP.NET Core web application designed for the developer streaming community, both the viewers and the streamers. So the idea of it being that we want to have a community place for you to both find developer streamers, as well as for developer streamers to find other streams, to collaborate with other things like that. So we want to make a little community hub almost. And one of the central pieces around that is that we want to have scheduling in here. Scheduling, filtering, things like that, so you can find channels based on tags. Hence, we just added tagging. That's actually what this feature is that we're doing. And as part of that, we merged the edit and create page because it kind of needed to. Yeah, in the URL, yeah, S&B, you're right. A business user might have a fit, and that's why in the long run, if we decide to open this site up so it's not just for developers, we might fix that. So if we ever decided to generalize this and make it not just about developer streaming, we would fix that URL. It's not a hard thing to change. I just, not planning on doing it. Okay, so we got those pieces in there. The last thing that we want to do to call tags as a feature, there and complete, because obviously there's other features we need, which is like to be able to find them based on tagging, but with this we have the data, and I would call that a complete feature worth merging in once we get this last piece, and that is that I want to have the details page display our tags. So this should be an easy one. This page doesn't need to do anything with view, it doesn't need to be dynamic. Tubo Gaming, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Since we don't need this page to be dynamic, we can do just a straight up Razor page. It'll load the data at the beginning. It should be fine. Tubo Gaming, awesome. Yes, we are absolutely using Notatime. In fact, when we added Notatime to this project, Tubo, we actually had John Skeet as the guy that helped us get it in here. So. I thought that was kind of a fun thing. That's part of why it actually took me so long to get it onto our get started on this application. I'd actually set up to start this a long time ago, but I'd been talking with John about bringing him on to do a stream with us, and it was kind of funny. I was like, well, I want to do this one, so we waited until we could get John on the stream in order to do that, because he is the ideal person to have show us Notatime. He built it. At least he's the main person behind Notatime. Oh, yeah. So, Goliath, if this is what you've been looking for, I would also let everyone here know, really, not just you, but everyone. This is actually an open source project, so if you do want to contribute to it, you are welcome to. Yeah, exactly, Tubo. I thought that stream was fantastic. I learned a lot about time zones. Probably more than most people need to know. Okay, so we want to display this data. So let's take a look at our models. So we're just grabbing the channels. We're not pulling tag data. And we're displaying just a basic model object. We didn't do anything special. I forget if I made a view model for this or not. But I think I will. We'll make it... Am I still sane? Yes, I'm still sane after learning about time zones. I did not lose it. Channel view model. Where's this getting used? Corey Finnegan, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. Name, URI, scheduled streams, time zone. This is the index model. I bet this is the index model. Let me take a look. I bet it is. I was trying to think why this one's different. And I'm betting this is the one. Yep, there it is. Okay, so this is kind of like the index model. It's a very simple one. It's got very little data on it. We could use... So... Debating whether or not we want to use that or not. Or make our own. Well, the simple way to get it to work is this. I can channels include and include the channel tags. So doing an x dot, and actually before I do this, let me go ahead and make this a little bit easier to read. We'll put each one of these on their own line, just so it doesn't get totally crazy. So from context, we want to grab the channels collection, and for the channels, we want to include their tags. We want to do a then include. The tag object off of each one of those. So this essentially, doing this lets us connect a many-to-many relationship. So essentially what it's going to do is it's going to say, hey, every one of those channels we've got has an associated tag. Go ahead and get the tag for that and bring that back as well. The tag in this case is going to give us the basic information of the tag name. So we'll go ahead and display those on the page. Maybe we'll just do it as a list or something, because this is just a details page. But that should get us our data. If dates and times were designed by devs, how different would they be? Well, S&B, we would probably have them... to be honest, there's actually some convenient things. What you really want to ask yourself is if we could redefine our mathematics system. Oh man, would I love it if we used a base 12 numbering system instead of a base 10 numbering system. Or maybe a base 20 or base 60. Those would be fantastic. And yes, I'm insane for even suggesting that. But oh man, could we do some cool stuff if we had a numbering system with more multiples. Such cool things we could do. Exactly, Cynical Marley. Base 10 is really not all that convenient. There's very few factors of 10. Can we grab the model from the page using the ViewData? We don't need to, Dan. So this object, it's actually the way that Razor Pages works is we have access to the page model the whole time. So essentially that channel object that we've whoops, how did I open that? I meant to open this one. Let me close that. So this details CSHTML file, you'll see what it does here is, oh, it's doing that. Oh, that's how we did it. Okay. All right, we'll do this. This is going to be ugly. No, alright, I want to change this. Alright, we're going to change the details page. We're not doing it this way. Some did use base 60 math back in the day. Yeah, Fuel Snable. It was something like the Babylonians, or someone used base 60. And it's actually really, really convenient because you can, like, when you have base 60, you can cut it in half, you can cut it in thirds, you can cut it in quarters, you can cut it in fifths. Like, it has so many factors that it's actually really, really useful. Yes, exactly. Fuel Snable, that is actually correct. So there are a lot of problems with the Imperial system, but if you had a numbering system that was, if you actually made your, if you used a base 12 numbering system, the like 12 inches, for example, you know, in a foot would be useful. Additionally, that's actually, so a lot of people don't realize we actually use base 60 for some things. We actually use it for time. That's why there's 60 minutes in an hour. You might have noticed 60 seconds in a minute. That's actually part of the reason is our timing systems are old, and they're really useful because you can cut an hour into thirds, you can cut an hour into fifths, you can cut an hour into quarters. You can, you know, like there's a lot of divisions of 60 that work out evenly. So yeah, exactly. You don't end up with like the 0.33333333 repeating things the base 10 has, because it has so many more factors than 10 does. Can I cut it? No, Fuel Snable. I don't think you can cut it into 17ths. Is it back end only what I see? Okay, General. I'm not sure what you're talking about. So we're looking right now at the CSHTML file, but I want to open up the CS file, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to get rid of those other pages I wasn't using. And I'm going to hide the terminal, just so we have a little bit more space for the editor here. And I want to change up this type. So we are including that this gets us all of our data, but I don't want this to be the model we use. So let's do this. So this will be the channel, except I want this to be a new model type. So first thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to change this to the channel index model. Rename file as well. Thank you. So this is the channel index model now. And that is going to create a couple of problems if I don't go and change this. So I'm going to go to the index page. Oops, I actually only need to go here. And I believe that's the only change I need to make, but I'm going to check by doing a .NET build, which should build my pages, and we'll get a quick look at that. Oh, I missed one. Channel mappings. Yes, it would definitely be in there. Let's see if that builds. It does. Fantastic. Okay. So that worked out perfectly. And yes, at some point we could just use AutoMapper for this, but we haven't yet. Backend development, or are you a full stack developer? I am a full stack developer. I don't know. I've done. I mean, it's a weird term. I have written, and I have. All right, think of applications. I've done pretty much everything. I've done front end stuff. I've done back end stuff. I've done, you know, even server administration for like running servers that run applications. I've done massive amounts of stuff with database from time to time. So I have had a career working with pretty much everything. My main expertise is in C#, but obviously we all have to work with everything. So I would recommend any developer be able to do everything. You can specialize in something if you want, but make sure that you at least understand and can work in all parts, because you never know when you're going to need to do something outside of your wheelhouse. Yes, that is one of the challenges, Fuel Snable, is that the math that we use and the math the computer uses are not the same. Oh, yeah. So we're doing a little bit of back end. We're doing front end as well. So it is really useful to see it all. Hey, Simon. Greetings. And I think I welcomed you. Did you follow Geki General? I don't remember if you did, but either way, welcome. I don't know if I said it. It would be easier to say from a career generation where one has to do all the things. Yes. Yes, at this point, it is useful to know how to do all the things. Okay, let's go ahead, and we're going to make our next little mapping thing here. So we're going to do another extension method. I know words. Channel view model. Oh, whoops. Before I do that, hang on. Fix that name. Which means in the index.cshtml file, when we do this, we need to go to index model, and let me build again. I want to make sure this is good. And I'm going to commit those pieces separately from the rest of this, because I want that to go in separately. So this change, that change, not this one, and that one. And welcome. Thank you for that follow. See? I appreciate it. I seriously do recommend people follow. It is the best way to catch streams live. And that's not just for my stream. That's for any stream that you want to watch. If you don't follow the channel, you are going to miss it a lot. That's one of the things with live streams. You're going to get busy, and you're going to be, just working along. You'll be like, oh, dang it, that stream started a half hour ago. And yes, you can watch streams and have them on in the background while you do other stuff too. Change the channel view model to a channel index model. Let's do this because it's less confusing. I'm gonna say channel view model. Rename the channel view model to an index model. Okay. Now the reason I did that is an index model is very lightweight. It's going to be missing most of the details. It has a couple of weird things about it as well. You may have noticed that I have a count of the scheduled streams on the index model, and that makes sense. On an index model, I don't need all the data. This is just like what the data we need in order to display the index page, essentially. It's the simplest thing in the world. So let's take a look. Let's go ahead and add the other one that we wanted to put in here. So I'm actually just going to start from this one. I'm going to copy the index model. And index model 1, I'm going to do a rename because I'm going to call this view model. And I understand that the view model could be details model, but people know this word, so I'm going to use it. Oops. I can type, everyone, I promise. Channel view model. There we go. Exactly, Coding Karma. It's easy to miss a stream even if you are following, so I can't do UI, but you wouldn't generally want any of my UIs. Yeah, so many of us are better at doing the JavaScript, the C# and all those pieces than we are at the actual design, whether that means UX design, or like the interface or the graphics or anything like that. Geki General, have a good one. Yeah, you don't have to stick around. Take care. I managed to miss it even with following. The good thing is that our domain is so big, so there are many different things to do. Right now, I kind of miss some of the good old low-level program. Yeah, Fuel Snable. That does happen. Okay, so in the view model, I definitely want to have the ID. I want to have the name. I want to have the URI to display. Ooh, scheduled streams. Do I want to know what the scheduled streams are? I think I'm okay with it being a count. Did I leave that page up? No, it's not there. Which time zone we're in? Let's see. We want to have tags. Do I have a tag view model? I do. ID, name, and description. Alright, we'll use that. So this is going to be a list of tag view model that we're going to call tags. list tag view model. And this is the channel view model page, so I'm going to do this real fast. So for anyone that wasn't here earlier, I actually do have Visual Studio and VS Code both running. And I'm just going to hop over here because it's going to fix all my namespaces for me real fast. So it got those. So there's my tags. I maybe should be running in there for the C# stuff we're doing, but it doesn't really need to. It is weird nature of watching a dev stream as a developer. Whenever someone else is doing the code, it's strangely therapeutic and chill to have it in the background. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it, Simon. SNB's wife. No, it's totally normal. He's sane, I promise. It's nice to have a thing on the background. We all do this coding, so it's very normal for us. We understand what's going on, even if we can't see it most of the time. So that I'm trying to think if there's anything else we really want to have on here. Let me open up the channel model, which is actually going to be up here. URI schedule stream. I'm not going to display the country. I don't need to. It's not all that relevant to the page. Well, yeah, we will. I'll show the country. Okay, so we're gonna say country name, time zone name, tags, name, URI. Okay, so there's our view model. Get rid of that. Details, CSS, HTML, channel mappings. Okay, so these are what we want to have open. So here's our new view model, and I want to make a public static this channel. Channel source. There we go. Okay, so for anyone who hasn't seen it, if you're not used to C#, essentially what we're able to do is add what's called an extension method. So as many of you know, C# is a statically typed language. Its types are fairly strict. And one of the things that you can't normally do in one of these languages is add things to it without putting it inside the declaration of the class. That's not usually allowed. And the language doesn't allow that, really. Like, what we're doing, this is a lie. This extension methods allow you to call a static method as if it were a method on the type. Now, the reason we don't want it as a method on the type because we don't want to be accessing its private members and other things like that. So we're just doing a mapping. So we just want to take public values from one, put it in the other. If we need to go further than that, we could put it on the actual object itself if we ever do want that. But this makes us, it forces us to make the conscious decision to do it. So that's one of the things that we do here. Also keep in mind, because the way I wrote these, they're fairly simple, and we could switch them to AutoMap or anything like that whenever we want. But we're not doing that yet, so I'm just going to create a new one. And I saw a question in chat. I will get to that in a second, everyone. Let me go ahead and get this this code started here. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Dealing with a little bit of a cold. I didn't get it muted there, so hopefully that didn't bother anyone too much. Okay, so stuff in chat. It's more strange as I'm listening while making toast and marmalade for tea. Nice, Simon. Yeah, no, that is awesome. I have I watch a lot of streams also, and I will actually just have it up and running while I'm doing stuff. I used to be like, oh yeah, I've got your stream up while I'm doing chores around the house and other things. I watch gaming streams as well as programming streams. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Let's see, Cynical Marley. It's why I like Kotlin and Scala, because they allow extension method-like behavior. Yeah, exactly. Extension method-like behavior and those sorts of things. Super, super useful. Chandu, here's what we're working on. I'll give you a quick intro. And this is obviously for anyone that is interested. We are building a community site for developer streamers and both the streamers and the viewers. So anyone that's interested in this kind of stuff, this site is for all of us. we are doing essentially, we want it to be a place where you can both find developer streams that you're interested in seeing, as well as, if you are a streamer, to be able to tell other people about your stream. We want to be able to have some details about stuff so you can look them up, more than just like what you do searching around on Twitch. The problem with looking for them on Twitch is that you don't find them if they're not live. Whereas this is, no, you can just go find them based on that information, and you can see a schedule of when they're going to be live. The other reason why we're not just saying, hey, Twitch does this, is that we don't want it to be exclusive to Twitch. We want anyone, so there are some developer streamers that stream on YouTube or Mixer, and we want to support them as well, so hence we're just doing a community site about this. So the scheduling system and being able to find what's live, that's the big thing, and if you're a streamer, you might want to schedule so that you don't overlap with the other streamers. So a couple of friends of mine who are other developer streamers are live right now, for example, and I can actually see a few of them are live right now, and like the combined total of their viewership is less than our viewership here. So that's why I would try to encourage them, like, try to schedule your stream so it's not overlapping with me, so I can host you and things like that and help support you. And I'm also not like stealing an audience away from you. So that's part of the idea, is we want to help get that stuff going. We want to get the community, helped as much as we can, because I love the developer community, and hey, let's build it up. Ace Flames here is wondering when I'm going to do gaming streams. So I will actually tell you, I did gaming streams before I did developer streams, and I didn't do them on this account. I did them on my other account. If anyone's wondering why I have two accounts, so I'm at Brendonius in a lot of places, like on Twitter. You'll find at Brendonius is my name, and you will not find me. You'll find me as DevChatter here as well. I put that distinction because Brendonius I use both as my Twitter handle for all my professional stuff, but I also use it for gaming. So if you run into a Brendonius while gaming, that's probably me. So, you wrote a Spring Boot exam before Christmas at Kotlin, you wanted to learn something new and refused to use Java for it. Well, that's a good reason. I hear a lot of good stuff about Kotlin, actually, Coding Karma. It's been a while since I've used Java now. It's been about a year. There were some Game Jam streams back in oh yeah, and S&B's right. So we built some games back in 2018 towards the end of the year. So I do want to still do some more game development streams. I want to do web development, game development, those sorts of things people are interested in. So let me know what stuff you're interested in. If anyone's in here and hasn't joined our Discord, I really do recommend it. I linked in the chat. There's links down below as well. Is this an open source? Chandu, yes. Everything we're doing here on the channel is open source out on GitHub. We do accept pull requests, so feel free to check that out. After C# and Scala, I can't use Java anymore. Yeah, that's Mixer. Mixer is essentially Microsoft's version of Twitch. That's the short answer. It's well, and by that I mean it wasn't made by Microsoft, but they bought it. So Microsoft owns Mixer right now, and it's. I find it very telling that there's a Visual Studio Twitch channel and not a Visual Studio Mixer channel. I wish IntelliSense would suggest extension methods without the using and then would accept the suggestion. ReSharper can usually figure those out, Simon. I don't think there were very many dev streams on Mixer. That's true, I don't think there are many. Gaming stream, yes, there are gaming streams on Twitch. Looking forward to playing this week. Yeah, I do enjoy Dead by Daylight, and there are a couple of spooky games that I like. I'm not one of those people that goes and plays all the spooky games that exist, though. So anyway, let's get back to this coding. I actually think I might do this in Visual Studio, now that I think about it. Because I think it's going to be easier for what we're doing here. Because Visual Studio and ReSharper are going to help me out a lot with getting this right. So, if you were wondering, why are you running both? Well, some things are better in each one. URI is going to be source URI, and I do understand that I could have done this out of a constructor, but I don't want to use this out of the constructor because I know I'm going to need to use the object initialization at some point, so hence didn't do it. Country name is going to be source dot I need to convert that. Okay, we're gonna have to convert that. So this will get me time zone name. That'll get me the scheduled streams. Whoops. Tags is going to be source.tags. This is, oops, select, let's do this, x.tag to view model, and then .toList. Okay, so that'll get us our tags. That'll quick convert the tags. This gets us a count of our scheduled streams because we just want the count. This will get us from that time zone ID to the nice generic name. And now I need to get the country code. So the country name from the country code. So I think it's TZ names get. So get us back at dictionary. Hang on, I'm gonna go check our controller so I can remember how to do this. Whoops, wrong one. I meant to go to this one. No. I meant to go to... We don't use the country controller, we're gonna go to the page. Yeah, that's a good point. We'll just leave it off. I was debating whether or not I even wanted to show it. So we'll get rid of it. There we go. That'll make it simpler. Now I don't have to deal with that. So time zone name, that, and the tags. So that should work for us. And let's go back to VS Code now. And if we go to the details.cshtml.cs file, yeah, it's a mouthful. To be honest, I don't think languages are all that different. Any language is elegant when you are solving simple problems. Any language sucks when you have a million lines of mess. That's fair, Fuel Snable. That's fair. There are a lot of great languages out there. Some are good, some are bad. Depends on what you're doing with them. I need to include scheduled streams as well. Okay. That's if model's not found. And then what I need to do is say channel equals model.to view model. That isn't mapped until we include this namespace at the top. So we're going to include that namespace, and that's what this namespace is what allows us to use those extension methods. So if you haven't seen that before, that is how you do it. You include the namespace of the extension method. Oh, whoops, I included the wrong one. Actually, it's the same one. Funny enough, and I did that intentionally. I put that in the same spot because if you're using the view model, you probably are using the mapping. So they're in the same using. So that should set the channel model to that. So now, on the page, this needs to be a channel view model instead of a channel. Which means, on the details page, our CSHTML file here, we now have name, URI. This is going to be time zone name instead of time zone ID. In addition to time zone name, we have scheduled streams count. And in addition to scheduled streams count, so we did time zone name, we have tags. I'm not sure what it's going to do with tags, to be honest. I'm not sure. Display name for, and so an HTML display for a collection of an object, it might not be able, I don't think it's going to be able to do this. We're going to have to put that one in ourselves. I don't think we can cheat this way. So this is going to change, but let's see what it does with it. Well, first off, it may not build. We might have missed something. Okay, there we go. Channel does not contain a definition to ViewModel. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. To channel ViewModel. That's why. Okay. Let's run it again. Oh. Yeah, the DevChatter chatbot, like every so many minutes, posts one of the things that you know it's supposed to post in there, one of its interval messages, and it does that pseudo-randomly. And by pseudo-randomly, I mean it is making a first off computer-based random selection, which you know is not all that random. But then actually, what it's doing is it is seeing how long since the previous time that same message was sent. So it's less likely to send the same message twice, and more likely to send one it hasn't sent in a while. So it doesn't go through a sequence, but it randomly selects, trying to show one that it hasn't shown for a while. And there's a weighting system on them as well, because some we want to run more frequently than others. They're just nice, welcoming messages that we want it to post in the chat. Oh, did it do it 3 times in a row? That's funny. No, well, wait, hang on. One of those might have been me clicking it, though. Oh, you're right. It did it twice there. Well, there you go. Random, you know, even with our stuff in place, I think the Discord's one of the higher weighted ones, so that's probably why it did it. More likely to be able to happen. Okay, so here we are. We're going back to the list. Let's see it. So this page still works. That's good. Let's take a look. Can we see the details, or does it totally bomb? 1, 2, 3. That's awesome. That's not wrong. That's correct. It is 1, 2, 3. One, 3. 1, 3, 1, 0, 0, 2. That's kind of funny. Alright, so as I said, that I wasn't sure what it was going to do with the display for. Turns out what it does is it just takes the value, converts it to its integer, and just displays it there. Which is kind of funny. So it just put the ID value in. Not what we wanted. The app was crashing often to... Oh, well, that's kind of annoying. Yeah, I don't run into issues with Discord crashing, so hence I just keep it running. I haven't run into any problems there. Okay, so that worked out fairly okay. Let's go to this page. So this is the only one that we want to display differently. We don't have an explanation of how it's supposed to display this object, so yeah, I also don't have any problems with Discord. Runs pretty well. It updates frequently, though. Yes, that is true. And it's a pretty friendly community there, so feel free to say hi and welcome people as they show up and ask questions. Our Discord, I try to make sure it's a nice place, and we've got some pretty good moderators in there, too. we've never really had too many problems, so it's a nice little spot. So I want to display something better for this. I mean, I could go as stupid as just, you know, taking the names and just like string joining the names together or something like that. Alright, I'm gonna cheat for now. We're gonna cheat. We're gonna make it simple. So here's what we're gonna do. Instead of doing a list of the tag view models, for now I'm just gonna make it tag. Yeah, it's just gonna be a string. So I'm gonna super cheat on this one, and we're just gonna do this. So we're gonna make it just the names. So we're just gonna select the names, and that's gonna get us our collection that we're just gonna string join. String join, and our separator is going to be a comma space, and we're just going to put that in there. So there you go. We cheated. It's fine. Because we're really just updating this page so that it has something. Whoops. That doesn't go there. That's inside of an object initializer. As we been having a lot of issues, as we Chromium issues with need a nice pills control. Pills control, Simon. What do you mean? I only have Discord, Slack, and VS Code running at the same time. For now, it's a permanent solution. Yeah, basically, Coding Karma. This could end up being permanent because we don't care about this one so much. This is just displaying on the details page. So how much info? How nice do we want it to be? So C#, JavaScript, English. So it just lists our tags. That's not really the page for like someone viewing it. So we don't need it to be super nice. This is just for your convenience when editing, that there is a page to see the details that isn't an edit page. And then the last thing, we probably want to show it on the delete page as well, doing basically the same thing that we did here. Okay, let's go ahead and commit this. So this is display tag data on channel details. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing on the delete page that we did here. So let's go to delete CSHTML. Actually open it and open up the delete CSHTML.cs. And actually, let's just steal the code from here because I'm going to do this same thing in that one. Which, that alone, so I think a bunch of people, so anyone here who's a regular and has seen our DevChatter chatbot project probably knows that at this point you can probably tell that this logic, this idea of like what needs to get pulled back, could really get encapsulated somewhere. And so we do that on our DevChatter chatbot project. We haven't done that here yet, but you can obviously tell that we do want to extract that out. So that is going to be a project not for today, because that's one of the other things with Discipline is you don't have to fix all of your problems right away. If you do that, you will never get anything done as a developer. So make things a little bit nicer than they were before you got there. You don't need to make them perfect. Okay, so we're going to make that model. This is going to be a channel view model. So that changes to channel view model. Ooh, actually, wait, am I going to run into a problem if I do that? Ooh, on post async, it just sends up an ID. And it tries to find channel. Does it actually use the channel object? Ooh, it tries to reload it. Channels, remove channel. Okay, so it tries to find the channel based on the ID, which it does, and attempts to remove it. Okay. Then it goes back to the index page. Okay, so it doesn't reload after a post back. So there's nothing weird there. Since it's just grabbing it based on the ID, why is this a bound property then? Why is that about? That shouldn't be a bound property. I don't think that should be a bound property. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't think it should be there. Select, just scroll down, crashing me, and the others too. I can't even use OBS capture VS Code window. If I want to developer streams, I have to use full VS IDE on it. Oh, that does suck, Janiscu. That is not fun. That might be in UI Suite, the elements that show each tag as a nice rounded rectangle in a container box. We could use bootstrap badges for the tags in the details page. Very true, yes. Yeah, absolutely, S&B. So that's the idea, is we can nice those things up a whole bunch. I'm guessing Emmanuel88, welcome. Thanks for following. If that was an L on the beginning and not an I, because the font that displayed there doesn't help me out, but I'm guessing Emmanuel. Welcome. Okay, so we pull that back. I adjusted that binding. We do this. I then need to do a quick setting of that based on this value. So I'm going to go ahead and do one of those right before we return. And now on the delete page when we're displaying, so there's time zone ID. I'm going to steal this from the details page as well. Basically from time zone name down to tags, I'm just going to put that right over top of time zone ID. And now I'm going to restart the site just to be sure everything reloads. But I think, ooh, hang on, I need the using in the CSHTML file. And it is this using that I need right here. There we go. That should make it work. and we have a Hangman game going. I wonder how it's going. It doesn't look like it's going that well. Ends in the letter E. Uh-oh. This is probably one of those non-words that S&B is going to yell at me about. Uh-oh. D's not in there either. Cannot implicitly convert from channel view model. From channel to channel view model. Line 51 of delete CSHTML. I must have just left something alone there. Channel. Oh, yep, because they're reusing this object. I don't know why they're reusing this object. That's silly. And actually, I'm just going to call it model. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure what that word is. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Hang on. I think I know. Yep, I got it. I know what the word is. There's your hint, everyone. So if you are playing the Hangman game, that's the big hint. And don't make a mistake, because right now I think that Hangman dies with one more, one more missed letter. And remember, no, it's not that one. It's, but that's a great guess. because your R was right. That's the funny part. Let me give you your next hint there. Now can you get it? Alright, so that shows scheduled streams 4, tags, there we go. Okay, and shows time zone as Eastern Time, the URI, the name. Looks good, I like it. Hey, Boxy Baby, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a while, and congratulations on winning the game of Hangman. Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that funny? So we actually, at a couple of points, we intentionally did some things that were really, really hard in that Hangman game. No, there was just a Hangman game going while we were playing Zunjin. Yeah, there was a bot game going, and so for example, we have X unit and N unit, and maybe J unit or something. We have a bunch of those, so even if you figure out that it's one of those, you have to start guessing which letter was at the beginning, and can potentially fail there. Yeah, Simon, they're programming terms and food for the most part. There might be a couple of other words in the database that are different from that. Yeah, a bunch of non-words. I get yelled at a lot about my games. It's claimed that they're rigged by people. And see, look, so that's the funny thing. When I talk about how we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary, if you take a look at our rigged quote there, that is from March 20th, 2018. Simon, we because our initial word list was just a bunch of foods. We did things like orange, apple, banana, and other stuff like that. So our initial list was food, and then we were like, you know what, it makes more sense to do programming topics. So we put in programming topics then second. 3rd 20-tober 2018. Yeah, exactly. S&B. Yep. Yeah, sorry, it's showing in the American way. There's a 20th month. Yeah, I'm a developer, so I actually usually write things in year, month, day. Because I actually think that makes the most sense, but, you know, I'm crazy. Developers are crazy. We're weird. Alright, so, show tags and scheduled streams count on delete page. Okay, so there we go. Let's, commit that, push those changes up. And there we go. That's pretty good change set. So that was actually the list of stuff that I was saying I wanted to get done today on the stream when we started out. So yeah, that's good. Zunjin, yeah, exactly. Thanks. No, as a programmer, I do it. I will say that being weird is totally normal for programmers. But do you write? The first one, Fuel Snable, I would do 2019-0101 because it will sort even in a string, so that's what I like about it. So the date today is, at least in my time zone right now. So it's 2019-0126. So that's the way I like it written. Because it makes it very, very clear. I went with the most significant down to the least significant, and then the nice part is when you start adding in the hours after it, they just follow nicely, because they're also going from most significant to least significant. The weird part is, if you go day, month, year, you go, oh yeah, day, month, year, and then you start going, you go like ascending and then descending, and it's kind of weird. But if you just go descending the whole way, you're defining time based on the most significant down to the least significant digit. And yeah, that is true, S&B. If you do want to write it as a 24-hour clock if you're going to do that. And yeah, Simon, exactly. I do the same thing when I'm naming files and folders and things like that in my system. I also use dates written that way because it's nice. Okay. Hey, I managed to get it muted before I coughed that time. Yeah, at least here in the northern hemisphere, it is cold and flu season. I've had my flu shots, but colds you can't. They don't really give you shots for that one. You can't get vaccinated against that one yet. I look forward to when we can. That'll be nice. So any of those are modified? They shouldn't be modified. I committed those. Why is that lying to me? Also use O for version separator. So no multiple part names. Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. All right, so tags work. All right, so we made a thing called channels. That might need to get moved somewhere else at some point. The structure of our site might need to change. Although I'm realizing our tags are basically there. Let's get this merged in before we do anything else. And by merged in, I mean pull requested in. So we're going to jump back out here and go to the DevStreams project. And we're going to do a pull request into this. And we're going to say adding tags to channels. We added tagging to channels on their create edit page and display them on details delete pages. Do I want to note that? No, I'm not going to note that there. I'm going to put this down here and say removes create channel page using edit channel page for both operations, and I deleted an asterisk. There we go, put it back. Zunjin, I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. It is, as I mentioned to people, we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary, so I have not figured out what we're doing special for that stream. It's going to be, when is it going to be? Tuesday, February 5th. So, should be a good one. Antivirus used to hate that back in the day. Yep, I'd believe it, Simon. It's hard to figure out. So, hang on. Yep, so, good stuff. Okay. So that's a pretty good pull request there, and I love the fact that we have all these commits, and then there's this handful that you can see David popping in there for. I love the way they did that. So I was pair programming with David, and so we were able to include him on the commits. So it actually treats that as it was committed by both of us. So very, very cool. If you haven't seen that, that's a fairly new feature in GitHub. So Zeno, yeah, there's actually a lot of reasons we went with VueJS. A couple of them being that VueJS is easy to just sort of plug into an existing site. You can sort of just add it in. It is not like an all-encompassing framework of everything. And so you don't have to build like a full SPA application. We can do sort of like this hybrid approach that we're doing here with VueJS. We also like the learning curve on VueJS, in that it's fairly easy for someone to jump in and learn VueJS. We find, obviously, other people have different opinions on this one, but that's part of the reason. Is I felt like it was pretty good for what we were using. Exactly, Zeno. yeah, so there are a lot of great solutions out there, and you really don't go wrong with stuff. So if anyone that loves React or Angular or Aurelia or whatever it is you like, you know, good. They're great solutions. We like Vue also. We used React. We tried out React a little bit on the stream at one point, just to see how it would work for what we wanted to do with it. Not on this project, on a different one. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Okay, so we put that in there. I'm going to stay on this branch because when it merges in, this is going to be closer to the live branch, to the master branch once it merges. I just don't want to merge it immediately, so hence we're going to work on this one still. So what's next? Let's take a look at our issues list. Where was tagging actually? Did one of these... Ah, so this is allowing the filtering based on tagging. So it's associated with that, but it's not, doesn't complete it. So I want to be careful that I don't let that one get closed by it. So what else is on here? Add channel to site. This isn't totally done, but we're gonna call it done. View scheduled streams of a channel, view all channels. So let's go ahead and let's make a page where you can see the channels. Yeah, Zunjin, exactly. Yes. That's one of the nice things about having so many choices of frameworks, languages, libraries, etc. Is that you can choose the one that fits the style you like. You can choose the one that's appropriate for your situation. So that's one of the best things about the development world today. Okay, so do we want to dive into that one? That's a good question. I don't think we're going to. I think we will keep this to a 2-hour stream today, and we will take a look at that one next time. So I want to talk about a couple of things. So coming up, we are going to have a pretty good stream. I am scheduling our guests for future streams. I'm going to get them onto our stream info page, so if you're interested in that, I am talking with a number of our former guests as well as some new people that I think would be fun to have on the stream as pair programmers or people to discuss different things with us. So we're going to have that. It should be fun. I need to freshen up and expand on your Node.js knowledge too, unless there are better options than Node at the moment. Coding Karma, depends on what you're using it for. I use ASP.NET Core, but you can use Node.js if you like. If there's a deadline, use a framework you know, and if someone's just trying to use a framework that you want to learn. Exactly, that's a great stance there, Zenel. And that's actually why we're using Vue here, is because I wanted to learn Vue, and I thought it would be a good fit, and it looked nice, and it seemed like it would do what we wanted. Vue seems to me like it fills a different role to the bigger frameworks, more like Backbone back in the jQuery era. Vue can still do the same approach that you did with, so you can take Vue to be the big, full SPA application, and you can use it kind of like you would React or something like that. So it is sort of like those, but yes, each one of the frameworks has a different approach. And yeah, I liked Backbone back in the day. I liked Knockout back in the day. I used Underscore. There were a lot of good JavaScript frameworks that came before where we are today. A lot of good stuff out there. Anyway, so as I was saying, I'm scheduling out our February guests. So I don't think we're going to have any pair programming streams next week. Because I'm scheduling most people for February, but I'm going to try to get us some good pair programming going on then. As I said, February 5th, that's going to be not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that. That is going to be our anniversary stream. That will be our 1-year anniversary of doing DevChatter. So we've done now that this one exists, we've done 162 episodes of DevChatter over the course of the year. There'll be a few more before we wrap up that year. So we'll be at what, like 165 streams, 166 streams, something like that. It's a lot of streams, and I want to thank all of you for hanging out and chatting today. As I said, if you are new here, welcome. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to chat, get involved, chat with the other people here in DevChatter. That's why our channel's named this. It's really all about the discussions. If you want to chat more with me and the other viewers of DevChatter, the best way to do that is to join our Discord. You can also find all of our source code for everything we do here on the stream is out on GitHub. I mean, maybe not everything, but pretty much it's all out there. You can find it at github.com/devchatter. If you want to see archives of our videos, you can find some of the recent ones here on Twitch in the videos section, but I also recommend you check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/devchatter. There's a link over there in the chat as well as down below. And we actually have everything over there is organized into playlists, so you can find that. And additionally, feel free to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Brendonius, and you can also follow just DevChatter if you want. It's got an underscore on the end. Make sure you note that. There's a DevChatter that doesn't have that, although that's an inactive account. Other than that, I want to thank everybody for hanging out today. It was a lot of good stuff. That's a dangerous thing to say there, Coding Karma, jumping into new stuff even when you have a deadline. I want to click a couple more buttons. Hang on, let me close that. I want to roll our credits. So I want to make sure that I thank everybody who helped out with the stream today and made it fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out today. I want to make sure I thank S&B for hanging out as our main moderator that was here today. We had a bunch of great people follow, that especially all of you that followed and joined in the chat, and Coding Karma with the Twitch Prime sub. Woohoo! It was good stuff. And Simon, if you're gonna work on this one, just branch off our master branch. So my development process, until I actually have a deployed version of the site, I use the master branch as the dev branch. As soon as there's a deployed version, I then add a dev branch that we go into. So the master branch is deployed to the main site, and the dev branch is the one that we're building collaboratively and then push over. I don't add the extra complexity until that. I will be merging in my tags changes, but if you send a pull request to the master branch, obviously wait until I merge in my tags branch, or pull it in afterwards, up to you, before you send that in. That just so that we don't collide just because I changed a bunch of stuff with channels. But yeah, that's the best place to do it. As I said again, and Zenel Bobby posted the Discord link over there. If you don't know what Discord is, it's actually a chat application. It's commonly used by gamers and Twitch streamers, so it's got a lot of stuff built in for doing that sort of thing. It's a nice place. We have literal, like, I'm not kidding, we have like 400 some developers in our Discord. So if you're interested in chatting with anyone over there, it's a really good spot. There's a lot of good people there. So anyway, you'll have to survive for a couple of days. We'll be back to streaming on Monday, and Monday at 2 p.m. is when we start. So look at your clock, subtract an hour, and that is our start time on Monday. And I will see all of you then. Take care. Have a good one. Happy coding. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you then. Bye.